Hi everybody, I'm Delaney Gabriel and it's October 7th, 2019. I'm making this video on the topic of hot flashes, blessing or curse. So if you're curious as to why I deem hot flashes to oftentimes be a blessing, it's because these hot flashes could be the first sign that you have that your hormones are out of balance. And the second concern that I have is even a bigger concern than that, and that could be that there are even greater health issues going on in your body. And the hot flashes could be alerting you to such things, including cardiovascular disease, neurological diseases, and certainly to bone loss. And that's besides, all the things that happen with mood and disposition, those kinds of things, even with PMS. So I want to talk about the first part, which is the signal that your hormones are out of balance. So number one, how would you know that your hormones are out of balance if you didn't have symptoms? So you could get blood tests done, but normally blood tests are only done if there is an issue and something that you can convince your doctor that your symptoms are extreme enough that you need to have blood tests. But in many regards, having low hormone levels or hormonal imbalances, it's sort of like it's the silent diseases that occur over many, many years. So I really do view hot flashes as being like a child tugging on your apron strings, alerting you that something is wrong. And it's something that, to a child, a milk and cookie won't fix because there's some deeper issues brewing. I began my work with hormones back in 1989, and by 1991, I was calling myself a hormone specialist because I thought I had figured out most of the things by then, and in many ways I had. And so for the last 30 years or so, it's just been more duplication of what I learned early on. And so much of it is ordinary. In fact, these symptoms are so ordinary that people expect them to take place. When I talk to some friends or ask clients if they've had hot flashes, they just kind of say, well, yeah, doesn't everybody? And the truth is, no, not everybody has hot flashes. And I know a lot of women who have not had hot flashes, and most of those women, quite frankly, are what I call estrogen women. And the estrogen women are women who have estrogen levels to the extent that they stay younger for a longer period of time. Their estrogen levels are higher than a lot of other women. With bone loss and, well, I think just especially with bone loss, I want to stick with that for a while. I want to keep these videos kind of simple. With bone loss, again, one of the silent diseases is that we can measure your vitamin D levels, and you can take vitamin D and so forth. You can take good kinds of calcium that will help. But the thing is, if your hormones are out of balance, or if your hormones are too low, then as far as I'm concerned, we're really destined to have bone loss. So the primary hormones that I'm talking about here would be the two primary estrogens, estrone and estradiol, but more specifically, what I see in my practice and what I've seen for these 30 years is where the estradiol level is too low. And then, so if you have a low estradiol and then your progesterone level is also low, that's a big issue because, and I tell women, and I don't mean to say it in a threatening way, but in an informative way, that if you have low progesterone, you have bone loss that is occurring. So it's really important for you to know what your progesterone level is. And to assess the hormonal imbalance, we would look at the total of your estrone and the total of your estradiol, and then compare that to a progesterone level. So if I always want estradiol to be twice as much as your estrone. So for most women, I like an estradiol number that's around 60 to 120, and I like an estrone level that is half of that. So, and then if we get those numbers, then I like the progesterone to be around 1.5 to 4.5. So, hoping that you can achieve those numbers through your hormones that you take would be one of the blessings that I would want you to have and want you to enjoy. So the reason that I get concerned about the estradiol being too low is because of the body's need for the cardiovascular benefits of estradiol to be adequate throughout life. So, and then with Alzheimer's disease, an Alzheimer's condition or dementia, that sort of thing, again, we need the hormones, the estrone, estradiol, and progesterone, but most especially estradiol and progesterone, to be at significant levels to get us throughout the course of our life. Because when we look at hormones, and especially to go into pregnenolone and DHEA, the so-called up-chain hormones, I've said many times, you show me somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia, and I'll show you somebody who has low pregnenolone levels, because pregnenolone has everything in the world to do with the brain, with memory, and so forth. So I went to a Peter Frampton concert the other night, and I went to see him because that's going to be his last tour. And he is diagnosed with a disease that I'm sure is medically sound, well-founded, and so forth. But what I think about is, what's his hormone levels? What are they? What's his testosterone level? What's his pregnenolone level, his DHEA, all of these other things? Because maybe in working with him or anyone who's had that kind of diagnosis, maybe those things couldn't be changed with his primary diagnosis. But what if he could improve his testosterone number, his pregnenolone number, and the other things that have so much to do with aging, his growth hormone? So those are the kinds of things that I look at with testing and evaluating everybody who comes across my desk or across my telephone line. So please just keep in mind that if you are having a hot flash, whether it's premenopause, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, any time in your life that you either have a hormonal imbalance or you have bigger things brewing in your body. So I hope that you'll take this to heart because it's the osteoporosis, the cardiovascular disease, the neurological diseases. Those are the things that I still focus on after all these years. And those are the things that I'm so passionate about, because I believe that the aging of the body and the dis-ease conditions of the body occur because hormone levels have dropped, and they have been dropped and at inadequate levels for a period of time before an actual dis-ease state can be diagnosed. So again, I hope you find this helpful. I hope you'll get your blood levels tested for all of those things, and just wishing you the best of health. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.